Welcome to Ms. O in the Mix. Just some things to consider before you enter the room. We serve up tough love here, along with spiked drinks. Yeah, that's just some profanity. Along with something we call homework, and we refer to that as snacks. Listen, if you are in the room with someone who is sensitive to profanity, we ask you to kindly put on a headset or pop in some earbuds. We also ask that you bring along a notebook and pen so you can take some notes because we're going to be talking about stuff, okay? And yes, I use Ebonics on this show. Thank you, and I'll see you on the inside.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Ms. O in the Mix. Today we have a very special guest with us, and I'm happy to bring her on. Her name is Roberta. She is the founder and owner of Dreams Empowerment Network. She has a notary and fingerprinting service. Two dynamic businesses dedicated to empowering individuals and supporting their professional needs. As an experienced entrepreneur, Roberta has built a reputation for delivering exceptional services that make a meaningful impact in the lives of her clients. Through Dreams Empowerment Network, Roberta helps individuals unlock their potential by providing coaching, mentorship, and resources aimed at personal and professional development. She is deeply committed to empowering others to achieve their goals, break through obstacles, and transform their dreams into reality. In addition to her work in empowerment, Roberta also owns AJ Notary Fingerprinting Services, where she offers notary and fingerprinting services to individuals and businesses. Her attention to detail, professionalism, and dedication to client satisfaction have made her a trusted resource for those seeking reliable, efficient, and secure notary and fingerprinting solutions. Roberta's entrepreneurial journey is driven by her passion for helping others succeed. She is a strong advocate for continuous learning, community support, and creating opportunities for personal and professional growth. Through her business, Roberta continues to inspire and uplift those around her, making a lasting impact on the community she serves. So we're going to jump right into it because y'all know I'm a little raw and uncut and unprofessional, not as professional as dear Roberta is. So we're going to jump right into getting to know a little bit more about Roberta. So I'm going to say, Roberta, welcome to Ms. O in the Mix.
Thank you, Miss L, for having me. Yeah, I'm ready to get down with the get down.
All right, I like that. So now, Roberta, I know you have these wonderful dynamic businesses. Like, first of all, hats off to you because having more than one business, just having one business is a lot, but having more than one business takes up a lot of time. Can you tell us how you got involved or kickstarted your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, it's funny that you say this. I told people about how I started, and basically, I dated this guy. I was divorced, and he was like, was he my first? He was like actually my second boyfriend after my divorce. Like my second relationship after my divorce, my first divorce. And he was an entrepreneur. And I would help him. He has his own like DJ company even still today. And so I would help him like categorize, put everything, all his stuff in the computer system or spreadsheets and, all his records and all of that. So I would help him. And then like when he go to different places, I would help load the van and stuff like that. And we would listen to NPR and stuff like that. So that was my first bite or taste of entrepreneurship. So I got really excited about helping him and seeing what he was doing. And so it spilled over in my life and I started doing greeting cards. So I would hand make greeting cards, like thank you cards and stuff like that, and sell them at the little different markets when they have the little markets, craft markets in my area. So that gave me the first bite of entrepreneurship. And it just grew from there. After that, I started doing a newsletter on community stuff, and then I started my nonprofit for single mothers, and it just kept going and going and going and going. So that's how I started in the business of being an entrepreneur. Because nobody in my family, well, I wouldn't say nobody in my family was an entrepreneur, because I tell all the business. But my grandmother ran numbers back in the day growing up, and my grandfather was a bootlegger. So
Wait a minute.
yes. So my grandfather used to sell alcohol, and sometimes people would come in and just purchase, a shot or whatever. So I can't say nobody was ever an entrepreneur, but I never knew what was going on. I was just a kid, knowing that a lot of people would tell me, wow, all these people. And then at a certain time, nobody could come in, like dinner time. Nobody could come in. After 9 o'clock, nobody could come in. So I guess I did see it, but I was very, very young, but I knew what was going on. But I really didn't experience, what entrepreneurship was and how fulfilling it was until I met Greg.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, we have a little bit more juice from behind the scenes. I love it. Well, that is interesting. I am shocked a little bit, and I am excited because I wonder what things as a child you really kind of had I guess had contact with in business without knowing it, that will actually show up in your business, and it feels like it's like a risk factor, a little bit of a riskiness that, when you decide to have more than one business, that's risky. That's kind of going on the lines of that bootlegging or that running numbers and things out of the house. It's taking a risk. And I don't know, like, do you find that you have any memory from that actually seeped into your business, maybe of how you run your business?
No, not from my childhood. No, not at all. I think my most impression and most active was with Greg, and seeing how he organized things and actually had, I think maybe one or two other people working for him. And at the time, he had a full-time job at Metro, and that's what he did. He was a DJ on the weekend, and then he had so many gigs, he would have other people come in, get his music, and go to the other gigs, and he would, pay them. So I don't think that as a child influenced me, because I really didn't know exactly what was going on. It wasn't abnormal to me, because, we're looking back in, 60s and stuff like that. So you're thinking their era of the hustle mode of being able to sustain and take care of their family kind of things. I never put any pieces together as far as how they influenced me, because they never talked about what was going on. You just saw what was going on. You know what I mean?
So moving on to for the businesses that you're in, what has been the most difficult aspect of your business
Well,
or businesses?
the first thing is being able to keep the noise out. So what you doing now? So how's your little business? All that bull. Keeping that out of your mind and fulfilling the sight, your goals, your dreams, and not let other people start planting these negative seeds in your head. For me, what I have learned is to stay focused on this one thing and grow it to the point where it could pretty much run on its own, that I don't really have to work in the business as much, but let it function. I think at the beginning of my entrepreneurship, I spreaded myself so thin. I was running this one and running this one and running this one all at the same time. And that kind of sizzled me out. So what I tell people today is stick to that one thing, understand it, let it mature a little bit. Then once you have a good operation thing going on, and you don't have to attend it as much, then go ahead and experience your next venture or whatever you want to do. Grow that. You know what I'm saying? It's just having a good foundation and understanding what is needed for each thing. I think that was I would say my downfall, because I burnt myself out. I got tired of going around speaking. I got tired of, packing everything up and going to the next city or going to the next state and doing this. What I started doing is doing webinars, bringing other people on webinars. You were a guest on one. So I started doing that. That freed up a lot more time for me to focus on my art. I'm an artist, so I started doing my art, and then, I was able to submit stuff to exhibits and stuff like that. So I had to kind of find a fine-tuned foundation for me to start functioning and not get burnt out, because you have so many different things going on and you cannot focus on everything. You can't give 100% or 90% because you've got so many other things going on and so many things, so many fires got to be put out, and you're only one person and you don't have a staff. So it's you doing everything, you doing the marketing, you doing the website, you doing, doing the posting, you speaking. And it got so much that I didn't even know. So what you do? I do a lot, kind of thing. I couldn't even give a clear answer because I was doing so much. And some of even though they're all different kind of business, but they all relate of helping people and helping community. So once I understood the connection of everything, I felt a little bit more comfortable and felt able to, be able to speak to people about what I do. It depended on the audience that I was with, that I could know, okay, I'm focusing on this business. This is what I do, kind of thing. And then if the conversation drums up, I tell them what else what other business that I have.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's a good thing to let people know in the audience, like build that one thing first, because it's become so distracting when you have 15 things on your plate and you're
Right.
trying to master them all. You're being a janitor, the admin person,
Right.
and the boss, and everybody else in between, the delivery person. It can get difficult. I do know that for sure.
Yep.
Well, as an outsider, we know that you have multiple businesses. I want to focus on the notary business. If someone wants to become a notary, what are the most annoying things people do that notaries encounter every day?
I would say they start to ask you questions about the document. And as a notary, you aren't able to answer those questions because you're not an attorney. So people will come in with wheels and they want to ask you, well, should I put my mom on here? Should I add my sister? What do I do with it afterwards? I cannot answer those questions because I'm not an attorney. If I say the wrong thing and they turn off and get sued, and they're like, well, this notary told me I could put this person on here, or this notary told me I didn't have to file it, or So I get a lot of questions about that. I get people thinking that notaries know everything about what they should do with their documents. Yeah, so I think that's the most annoying thing. I'm like, sir, I cannot answer that. So my brother, my brother is such a good nuttin', and he lives with my other brother, but I want to put him out. So what do I do? Sir, I cannot answer that. I only notarize your documents. So these are your documents. All right. I can only notarize these. So yeah, I get that often, very often. So I think that's the most thing that
Okay.
gets my skin.
Oh, wow. Well, I'll know not to ask those questions. And now my audience knows not to ask those questions, and your audience knows too. Because, I think that's important to know. I ask these weird, sometimes um, off the record type of questions because we just don't know. And it's good to know because you want to also respect the person's business. As a consumer, I feel like Consumers need to learn to respect the person's business and what they can and can't do. But we only know to respect it if we ask certain questions. And it takes someone to be willing to ask those questions. So thank you for really being honest about that. I want to know, is there anything else you like want to share about the notary business, or like what you're doing, your locations? Like, I know you have more than one location. Like, is there any information that you want to share with us about your notary business?
Well, as far as the notary is not my forefront moneymaker for me. I focus more on the fingerprinting business. Here, I got 3 locations: Temple Hills, Maryland, 7124 Temple Hills, Maryland, 207 Transmission Court, Lithium, Baltimore, Maryland, and the one in Arlington. Just drew a blank on the address. All that can be found on my website at TruePrint.biometricservices.com. I am the only one that does the notary. So each locations have their own specialties, I would say. So the one in Baltimore, they not only host my fingerprinting business, but they also do drug testing there. And then the other one in Arlington, they host tags and titles and U-Haul trucks. So, and those are what I call my partners. So, but my fingerprinting business is the one that I focus on more, that has more flexibility on high value tickets, services, where notary is ran by the state. So you can only charge a certain amount of money based on your state. So for here, notary, $8 is what I can charge for a basic notary stamp. Other places maybe 10, maybe 20. It depends on your state. So it's regulated by your state. Where I'm an independent fingerprinting business, my prices are whatever I choose my prices to be. Unless I work with the state of Maryland, being able to electronically submit to the state of Maryland, then I have to regulate by them their prices, and each month I send them a piece of the money that I make. Now, who wants to do that?
Oh my, that is it.
Yeah. So, the notary helps. I do remote notary. Now with remote notary, there's a lot of different avenues that you could use there. Each state has a list of companies that they work with. Again, a state regulates everything. So they have their own list of companies that you can work with, that you can do remote notary with. So I do remote notary, but I have a partner that a company that sends their folks to me. So that way I don't have to pay for monthly fee on the platform. So yeah, each platform is different. Some you pay credit, you pay a monthly service fee. Some you don't. Some you can bring in people. Some provide people. Some do both. So it's a lot to learn. Which platform will fit you? But for me, I work with a company who actually pays for the platform, so I don't have to pay for the platform. I just show up as a notary. All their documents is there. They go through the platform. They have to, verify who they are, upload everything. I don't have to worry about any of that. So I show up. Sometimes they can't hear and all that. So I just email the tech of the company. The IT person works it out with them. And then boom, we're notarizing the documents. But with the fingerprinting, like I said, I can charge whatever I want to because I'm an independent. I can have how many companies I want. Yeah. So the good thing is there is a lot more flexibility because I'm not working with the state. And I don't have to pay them out money. So if my fingerprints were $65, I have to pay them $32 or whatever the fee is. Yeah.
I know you lying. That they can just do work. Wait a minute.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We are midway through our show, and we want to take this time out to say thank you for all of your support. If you would like to connect with us and support us outside of the podcast, head over to MsOriginator.com for more information. Now, let's get back to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you have to pay them to submit through that's the state fee. Yeah. So, Florida, for instance, I get, I'm on an exclusive Florida listing for out of state. And so I get people who register for the state of Florida. They want licensing for whatever, real estate, construction, whatever, right? So they don't have to go to Florida, but they have to go to a reputable listed company that has been authorized through the state of Florida to do Florida fingerprints. Okay. So each different types of request of fingerprints. So let's say a person want to be a broker. Let's say the fee is $34. So I charge $130. So I have to pay the state $34 for that. And then I have to pay a small transmittal fee of $10. So it's $42 that I pay. The rest is mine. So it's
Wait, can I ask a question?
Sure.
What about taxes? Is it because you're paying these state fees that you don't have to pay any taxes on it, or is this tax free? Like,
It's
how
not.
does that work?
Yeah, that it's a digital, so you still have to pay taxes. So, but you don't pay the tax. At the end of the year, you pay your taxes, right? So you have to put that money aside.
Okay. All right. That depends on how your business is set up, or is that for all notaries that you only
No,
pay?
not notary. We're talking
I
fingerprinting.
mean, I'm sorry about fingerprinting.
Yeah.
So you can't pay like a quarterly tax.
It depends on how you set your business up. Now for the notaries are a flat fee. There's no taxes on there. So it's $8. It's $8. There's no tax on that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, there's so much information, and because of you, I became a notary. But yeah, I have nothing. I have started for the business. But what I'm wondering is there any educational services that you provide? I understand it's different for every state, right?
Mm-hmm.
But is there any type of educational services you provide for the state of Maryland on how to become a notary or have a fingerprinting business or any of these things?
Well, for the notary aspect, no. There is a plethora of information on notary, and I always suggest that people find someone that's in their state. Okay. I know Maryland lists their preferred professors or teachers or companies that teaches about notary, right? Miss Elaine Wright, she's been in the business for years, so she's a reputable. Her company is a reputable and listed on the state of Maryland website as a company that works with the state. So she's also able to take her class, you get a certificate, and you upload your certificate to the state, so they know that you have these educational credits and you went through a reputable company before you can even renew your commission license. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's got really, I want to say strict, but it has really, because of a lot of fraudulent stuff with real estate and documents, states have really, really come down on making sure that the notaries are trained properly, that, they have books out here on how to spot, fraudulent driver's license. They have all kinds of stuff. NNA has a list of, different kind of resources that you can use for your notary business. I try to grab much every time, it's updated, I get it. You should also for your notary. Read your notary handbook for your state. That's your Bible. So you know exactly what you're doing, what you need to do, and everything. Notary is a serious business because your stamp could cause someone to lose a house, a car, anything when you stamp that document. So I don't take being a notary lightly because I know that it is something that can be used for legal purposes. Yeah. I'm also a licensed typic. That's a title insurance producer here, which means that I can notarize real estate documents. So there's a list, you have to go through the training and all of that as well. And so I don't use that as much as with listing companies. I use that, I have an office, so people come in with some documents for their deed or they're turning over it to their daughter or adding people or whatever, or people come in that their title company sent them that they needed to get notarized, stuff like that. So I do more of those than listings from listing services. And listing services are companies that will send out a blast email saying, can you notarize paperwork at this time at 11 o'clock on April 12th, 2025. And they'll give you like a zip code area. You can accept it, and then they'll tell you more information, what needs to be done, and so forth.
I think we went out there for just a second. Sorry.
Yeah.
But you said they give you a list and a zip code or a list of things.
And they'll just tell you, you'll say yes or no. So, but it's hundreds and hundreds of notaries. So you're trying to click before anybody else clicks.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it's like a race to the clock. And then at one point, once you start doing more work for them, they'll just start sending you particularly you stuff if they like your work. But yeah, but I prefer, doing it the way I do it. I don't, it's some of the stuff you got to scan back. You got 275 pages you got to print out. You got to print out 2 sets. I thought it was a good idea when I did it, but I decided I didn't like to have to go to people's houses and yeah. So yeah, I'm more focused on the fingerprinting business. I do mobile fingerprinting, which is very lucrative, and I usually do business to business. I rarely do individuals anymore. I usually do business to business, one, because of the cost that I send. So, yeah. I mean, not the cost that I send, but the cost of the nature of being mobile. So there's a mobile fee, then there's, other fees, and then the cost of the service. So usually
you can make something.
Yeah, usually this is for fingerprinting. For notary, you charge by whatever the mileage is. I think it's like 56 cents a mile. Mm-hmm. And then I think for Maryland, I think it's a flat fee of $5 and then 56 cents per mileage, I believe. But yeah, each state has their own regulations. So, but with fingerprint, I can charge whatever I want to charge.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
For someone that's looking to get into that.
Yeah.
That's really good.
That's what I charge this is the mobile fee. This is the fee for, I just line item everything, and this is the fee for the service. Usually it runs about $300.
Okay.
Yeah. That's with one person, and depending on that particular service. So yeah, $300, $400 for one person.
I don't know what to say. That's not bad, or that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what fingerprinting services cost, but for someone who needs it, that's important. That's good to know.
Yeah. And like I said, those are really dedicated for businesses. So I get calls for their CFO needs to be fingerprinted, or their CEO or COO. So it's more high executives that need to get fingerprinted. So
y'all listening to that, if you got an E-Suite, E-Suite professionals, Roberta is the one. If you're in the state of Maryland, Roberta is the one to go and check out.
Maryland and Virginia.
Maryland and Virginia. So That is definitely important to know. I want to know before we start to wrap up, what other project do you have on the table? And so it's like two parts. So, what other projects you have on the table? And can you tell us what keeps you motivated to do this? Because you got to be motivating yourself somehow.
Other projects. Let's start with other projects. Other projects. So I'm the creator, originally the creator of the Black Authors Expo. So I'm getting ready to get that up and going again. I'm also trying to plan out something for fingerprinting. I do host a in-person fingerprinting class here in the Temple Hills that teach people about the fingerprinting business, about the rules and regulations for the state of Maryland to be able to be a fingerprinting business with the state. There is a lot of misinformation, and I had the privilege to sit down with the person that actually makes the decisions about it. So I go through all of the 20 something bullet points that they gave me, along with how to start the business and what they need to do and how to promote it and everything like that. So, but I would like to put together like a small conference. That's what I've been cooking up over the last year or so. I had a small like network group that came together. So I want to expand that, and because I know it's solely really, really needed in this area. The fingerprinting business, it's a little murky. So it's a lot of misinformation, a lot of confusion and stuff like that. And I want to have a conference with top quality people come in and speak, as well as you get a chance to network with other people, other businesses, other different types of businesses. So I got a lot of things rattling around in my head and on paper that I'm trying to iron out. And the other part of the question was what?
The other part of the question is like, what keeps you motivated to do this?
What keeps me
Because you are.
motivated? Well, a quick story. So I have a couple of immigration attorneys that I work with. So I get a lot of immigrants come in that need fingerprinting. So make a long story short, a lady came in to get fingerprinted. She was directed from police department, because a lot of police departments stopped doing fingerprinting when COVID hit. So they never resumed. So the lady came here. She was flustered. She was nervous. She was scared. And I got her fingerprints done. I don't know, something weird happened. It was my old system. It kind of like blinked and like lost everything. So we had to restart. But that freaked her out. She was like, oh my God, the government, so she started freaking out thinking, the government's coming to get her. She was like literally shaking. She also needed something notarized. So I, notarized the paper, got her fingerprints, put everything in envelope and everything. And she was just shaking so badly. I mean, and I told her, she was like, well, how much? Because I usually don't do walk-ins because my day is really crazy, right? Really, really busy. So I was like, I'm going to give you the notary for free. You just got your fingerprints. And I gave her extra card, right? So she was like, well, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And she just broke down and started crying. So what I do is important. How I treat people is important. The small things of helping people, $8. I mean, $8 is $8, right? But I understand the importance of what's going on, what America, the state of America is in, right? And so whatever little part I can help, I'm going to help. So my motivation is helping people like her, who is, a good person, just very scared, don't know if the government is waiting for her outside or at their door, at their workplace, walking to their car kind of thing. It is a very sad state for people to have to feel so freaking frightened just to live in America. It's bad enough being Black in America. And walking out the door. Now it's just people just being snatched up, period. So my motivation is helping people who needs the help, who needs to feel that they're not in this by themselves and that they feel safe when they come here. So that motivates me along with my goal. I'm trying to open up 8 locations by the end of this year. So I'm just motivated and focused and, helping people, making sure that my locations are good locations, that the people feel the same, how they feel when they come here. Partners are also giving them the same feeling of welcomeness, safeness, and that they feel comfortable in being in their environment. So that's what motivates me.
Well, I love all of that. And I love that you are using your talent, time, and effort to help people within the community. And that's a wonderful motivational thing right now because immigrants, we're all immigrants here in America, by the way. That's how I feel. But it is hard being a Black person because I'm Black and we know. And to see someone else right now going through that and being and could possibly be snatched off the street just by going to the store to get a loaf of bread. It's very scary. I don't normally talk politics on the show, but that is everyday. That thing right there is bigger than politics. It's an everyday occurrence and possibility, and we need not shy away from talking about it. So I do thank you, especially being a comforting source to people, to individuals, and deciding to take, if it's a little bit of help you can give, whether it's a hug or
Mhm.
something for a part of your services for free at some point in some time, that's a beautiful thing. So I want to give you your roses and say thank you from Ms. Owen the Mix and my audience. I know I appreciate that. That's wonderful. So as we wrap this up, I am thanking you for coming on. You are the second guest on Ms. Owen the Mix. I was still debating. Yes, second guest of doing this interview. Like it's been a long process and deciding is this something that I want to do, and I give my audience my voice, but I want to help share other people's businesses and their lifestyles and what they do for the community because the small businesses are just as important as those large corporations, and I feel like it's just not enough light shined on people who are in this entrepreneurship journey and trying to make the community just a little bit better.
That is true. That is true.
So without further ado, I'm going to just say, please plug whatever and anything that you would like to plug at this time to the audience so that we can support you in your growth in your upcoming wonderful projects.
Yeah, I mean, if you have any questions, want to know how to start a fingerprinting business, at least I can point you in the direction in your state, at least, or just get general clear information. You can always email me at info@ajnotaryfingerprintingservices.com, or you can text me at, you need to make an appointment. You can go to TP Biometric Services.com. So that's our new brand now. We're formerly AJ Notary Fingerprinting Services LLC, but we're now branding as TruePrint Biometric Services.
All righty. Well, I just wanted to go and grab your quote. Something for motivational purposes for the audience, which is always bet on you. That's what Roberta likes to say is always bet on you. And as we roll out of here, why is that? Give us a reason of why that's your favorite.
Like my
or
motto?
Yeah,
My
your
motto,
motto.
always bet on you, because who's going to bet on you? People are so flaky. 1 minute they with you, 1 minute they ain't. 1 minute you with you, 1 minute you ain't. But only person knows what's in you is you. Quick example. My youngest son, played football ever since he was 9 years old, all the way up. He got to the point where he started at a D3 school. He wanted to transfer to a D1 school. The coaches at the D3 school was like, they're not going to take you. No, they're not going to take you. You're better off staying here and be here for signing day, scout day, or NFL day. I forgot what they call it. I was like, it's up to you. You can stay or you can bet on yourself. You know the drive that you have in you. You know what you want. And he said, I'm going to bet on me. I said, I'm going to bet on you too. And he got into the D1 school. A lot of times we don't have the real support that we need. But if you have the drive and the will, the strong will, and believe in yourself, bet on you, because you will win all the time. You will win every time you bet on you.
I'm going to always bet on me. I am my number one cheerleader. Thank you very much.
There you go.
I
There you
love
go.
it.
So that's how I came up with the motto.
Okay. Well, I think that's a great example, especially for anyone that's listening, period, but especially for the younger audience that would be listening. Always bet on you guys. You know what you want, you know what you need. And with that being said, I'm going to say thank you all. Thank you for coming out. This is for my audience. Listen, anything that you need to know about Roberta State will be in the description box, and how to contact her. Her website will be listed for her notary and fingerprinting businesses, services, and any other social media links will be listed there also. So I would like to say thank you all for tuning in. Hey, check us out next time. Go do your homework. If you want to become a fingerprinting person out in Maryland, check out Roberta. She does have some classes and things coming up. Check out Dream Empowerment Network. She is going to be hosting her authors speaking event soon. And maybe you want to get involved in that. Reach out to her. Don't shy away. Support local. Support small businesses. And I just want to say thank you. And that's all. Till next time, guys.
Thank you for listening to Mizzo in the Mix. To follow us on Instagram, head over to @MZ_originator. To support us, you can go to MizOriginator.com. We'll see you back here on Wednesday.